My name is Andy, and this is the most magical podcast on earth. When I'm not on holiday at Walt Disney World, I'm planning a holiday to Disney. And when I'm not planning a holiday to Disney, I'm talking about Disney, with other UK fans like me who make the trip to Orlando and the House of the Mouse. So whether you're a parks professional or a Florida first-timer, this is the podcast for you. Each episode, I'll be chatting to other Disney superfans to share memories of their magical times, answering your Walt Disney World questions, getting you all the latest news from the parks, and finding out what's happening right now in Orlando. So get your ears on as we take you to the most magical place on earth. This is the most magical podcast on earth, part of the Secret Recordings Network. We have brand new episodes every other week, so make sure you subscribe for all the latest news from Walt Disney World, all the latest gossip from Walt Disney World, all the latest events from Walt Disney World, people talking about Walt Disney World. However, on this episode, as part of my tour of the 6 castles, we're going in the opposite direction, a trip report coming up from the smallest of all the Disney castle parks around the world, my trip to Hong Kong. And I hope by the end of this podcast, it will make you want to go to Hong Kong, not just to visit Disneyland Hong Kong, but to visit Hong Kong. I'll tell you more about it very soon. And of course, you can follow us on the socials at PodMagical is where we are. All the latest news on there between podcasts. We've got a lot to tell you about some new openings at Disney World very soon. And also we've got questions. If you've got any planning questions, if you're going soon or whenever to Walt Disney World, drop me a message like Abby did, who has a question about mobile ordering. How does it work with credit cards, and can you use a Disney gift card? Firstly, mobile ordering at quick service, I would say utilize that as much. Is a godsend. It will save you a lot of time in queues, waiting to order food and then waiting to pick up food. Simply, you go into the My Disney Experience app and make sure you have attached your credit card. So I use my Chase card, so that will be the card that's on my resort reservation, but your resort reservation isn't linked to your mobile order, so you just have to put that same credit card in again. So again, if you can, like we mentioned this in the last episode actually, if you've got a credit card or a debit card that doesn't charge you foreign transaction fees, make sure you've linked that one in. Or you can use Apple Pay. I use Apple Pay as well. Again, make sure your Apple Pay is linked to the credit card that you want to use abroad. And you can use the Disney gift card as well if you've got one of those. You can pay for your food on mobile ordering that way. And if you're on the dining plan, it'll let you use your dining credits on that as well. So there are many ways. Please do utilise mobile order if you're going to Walt Disney World. Any questions? Drop me a message at PodMagical on all the socials. So this is a podcast about Walt Disney World, but you will probably know by now that there are, as well as the Magic Kingdom, another 5 castle parks around the world, including the original Walt Park, the original Disneyland in California. We've also got Disneyland in Paris. And then we've got the Eastern parks, Hong Kong, Shanghai in China, and also in Tokyo, Japan as well. There are 6 castle parks around the world. This year, I'm visiting all of them. So far, I started the new year in Paris to visit Disneyland Paris. And of course, the studios there, which will be changing its name very soon. Then January, I went to celebrate my birthday in the original Disneyland in California and California Adventure. Disneyland celebrating its 70th anniversary this year. And this podcast, I want to tell you about my 3rd castle trip of the year to Hong Kong. So this is actually a 2-parter because this trip I ticked off 2 castles, 2 brand new Disney parks for me. Yeah, imagine walking down Main Street, USA for the first time again. You only get one shot at doing the first time, but thankfully Disney have given us 6 castles around the world. So on this one, I'm going to tell you about my visit to Hong Kong. So I did fly to Hong Kong, and then after that, flew straight from Hong Kong to Shanghai, to China, for that park. There was a reason that I did Hong Kong and Shanghai together, flying from London to Hong Kong, Hong Kong to Shanghai, Shanghai back to London. There was a particular reason I did that that's very important if you want to visit China. I will tell you more about that on the next podcast. But for now, let me tell you about the smallest, quietest, cutest Disney Castle Park in the whole world, which celebrates its 20th anniversary this year, which is Disneyland in Hong Kong. So I flew over to Hong Kong on the Friday evening with British Airways from Heathrow. Got to use the pod parking, which I didn't originally book. Originally, I just booked the regular parking direct with Heathrow. And then the week before, I checked the prices and went, oh, it's only another £9 to use the pod. And I love the pod. I mean, that's like a little ride in itself. So we used the pod parking. And we flew over to Hong Kong, staying at the Explorers Lodge. Now, Hong Kong Disney have got 3 resorts, 3 hotels. There is what you would call the Value Hotel, which is the Hollywood Hotel. You've got the Deluxe Hotel, which is the Disneyland Hotel. And I went for the middle one, the Explorers Lodge. Now, there's no downtown Disney or Disney Springs. It's just those 3 hotels and the park. And it's about 15 minutes from the airport. A really good location, actually, for Hong Kong Disney. If you want to explore Hong Kong and that area, it's pretty much smack bang in the middle between the city, the airport, and the big Buddha that you might have seen. You don't need a visa to fly in Hong Kong. It's pretty straightforward. There's no complexities about this one. Unlike China, as you'll find out on the next podcast. And yeah, really pretty straightforward. Flew in on the Friday night. We actually landed on the Saturday lunchtime. So it's a night flight. But because Hong Kong and China are 8 hours ahead, you've really got to adjust very fast, as I found out on my second night. The first night wasn't too bad because you've travelled, you've kind of lost a night's sleep, so if you can stay up till 10 o'clock, it's pretty easy to get to sleep, and then you'll set an alarm, but you'll be up wide awake the following morning anyway. As I say, to get through the airport, there are no problems there. It's pretty much you straight in, check your passport. We got a taxi from the airport straight to the hotel, which was about 15 minutes. The taxis, by the way, you'll need to have cash. I did get cash out for Hong Kong because a lot of people said quite a few places, especially if you're going into Hong Kong, will only accept cash. The taxis, that's the first tip for this podcast, the taxis only accept cash. So make sure you got your cash with you. Getting into Hong Kong was pretty easy as well. Before I start talking about the parks, because obviously, you know, you're visiting these places. I'd never visited Hong Kong before. I'd never visited Shanghai before. So as well as visiting Disney, which I love and was my reason for the trip, I wanted to see what Hong Kong was like as well. So we did a day trip into Hong Kong. Just stay for the 4 days in Hong Kong. Originally I was going to do the 2 days at Disney and then 2 days in Hong Kong, but I thought, you know what, because it's quite easy to get around by the looks of it, it's just easier to go to Disney. You've got the safety of Disney. It's somewhere I've never been before. You know where you are with Disney. I can just check in there, unpack my bags for 4 nights, use that as my base, a couple of days at Disney, a day into Hong Kong. It's near the airport, so that was my plan. So going into Hong Kong for the day trip itself, very easy. Also, you know, you want to stay in Hong Kong and go to Disney for the day. Again, just as easy. The transportation is pretty straightforward. As I say, we've got a taxi from the airport, but then again, to get around, we just use the trams and the trains. Pretty straightforward. There is a train station in Hong Kong Disneyland. There's only one stop, which goes from Hong Kong to Sunny Bay is the name of the next stop. It literally is just one stop at one end, one stop at the other end, and that's where your connection is. So you can get the train from Sunny Bay into Hong Kong, or if you want to go in the other direction, because there's only one line that connects that, you can get a train in the other direction that will take you to the cable cars that go up to the Big Buddha. I didn't visit this because I really thought didn't have enough time. Wanted to do 2 days in the park. I wanted to do a day in Hong Kong. And then the other day was kind of like the travelling day. And then the following morning we were up early. So I didn't think I'd have time. In hindsight, I would have done one entire full day in Hong Kong Disney and then half a day in Disney. Maybe even the morning in Disney, then going visiting the Big Buddha and the cable cars in the afternoon, and then coming back for the fireworks at night. If I'd have thought about it, that was the way we would have done it. But the first day of the trip, we did the travelling. We spent the first evening just looking around the 3 hotels. Didn't go into the parks, didn't have a ticket. We didn't have a ticket until the Monday. So the Sunday, we decided to visit Hong Kong. Quickly, let me just tell you about Hong Kong. So to go in, as I say, there's the train that goes from Disney to Sunny Bay. It's a cute Disney train. The windows are Mickey Mouse shaped. The handles to hold on inside are Mickey Mouse shaped handles. There's little Disney statues on the train itself. It is thoroughly themed inside and out to Disney. That itself was a little bit of a journey. The train, I got the Octopus app. Now, you might have heard about this. It's just like any other city. It's got its own app for getting around. Octopus is the app that they use for the transportation in Hong Kong. You can, it looks like, add it directly from your iPhone wallet. But this is probably the second most important tip on this podcast. Don't do that. You will need to get an app called Octopus for Tourists. So you will need to physically download the Octopus for Tourists app. You load money on that, and then you can load that into your iPhone wallet if you're on iPhone, and then just use it as normal. The great thing is with this app, firstly, it's really cheap to get around Hong Kong, really cheap. And you can use that app not just on the trains, but you can use it on the ferries. You can also use it in shops. Some shops in Hong Kong accept the Octopus app as payment. So you can just load money on there, and at the end of the trip, if there's any money left on the app, you just reclaim it, and it's back in your wallet within a couple of hours. It's back on your credit card or whatever you use. So that's really easy for getting around. So 2 tips so far: take cash for the taxi and download the Octopus for Tourist app. I'm giving you these tips because I want you to visit Hong Kong and Hong Kong Disney. That's the reason I'm going in. Hong Kong itself, we did the main tourist attractions. We're only there for a day. We did the Peak Tram, which you can get, which goes up to Victoria Peak, which has got beautiful views of the city of Hong Kong. We were very lucky that the weather was great. Not too hot, but a really nice, clear, sunny day. Beautiful views across Victoria Peak. We also had a walk around the Zoological Park and the Botanical Gardens, which are completely free. And it's an incredible zoo and park. Loads of little monkeys and birds, and you can just walk around. It's just like a natural free park, but it's just in the middle of Hong Kong, not too far from the Peak Tram. There's the Ding Dings as well. You might have heard about the Ding Dings. These are the trams that go around Hong Kong. There is a tourist one that you can get that will show you the sights. That wasn't running when we were there, but we saw the trams. We visit Mammo Temple. We did the escalators. The longest escalators in the world, because Hong Kong is very hilly. So if you want to go up, find the escalators that will take you from the bottom of the city all the way up. We visit a shop called Don Don Donki, which you might have heard about. Very popular in Japan, apparently. It's a crazy shop. It's like, imagine going to B&M Bargains drunk. It's like that. And Don Don Donki have got their own jingle that plays constantly on loop in the shop. It's like some sort of 80s Eurovision song that they play. So that, do you know what? From all the things I did in Hong Kong, the one thing I talk about most was my visit to the shop Don Don Donki. We also visited the other side of Hong Kong. It's kind of split across the water on 2 sides. So we went over to the other waterfront. We got the Star Ferry, again, using the Octopus app. It was just 65 pence to get the ferry from one side of Hong Kong to the other. They've got the Walk of Fame down there, which shows you some famous people who were born in Hong Kong. There's a cheesecake factory, some more great shops. So many shops. Hong Kong is incredible for shopping. Not particularly cheap, but if you love shopping, yeah. And then at 8 o'clock every night, the city lights up, so you can see like the light show that they have across the city skyline. You need to be on the other side, so you get the Star Ferry to the other side, and you can watch that. So that was my day in Hong Kong. An incredible city. Really easy to get around. Google Maps works in Hong Kong. English is widely spoken because it was under British rule for so long. So it's a great introduction to being in an eastern city, but having kind of just that little bit of reassurance and that comfort that you'll be all right because people speak English. They even drive on the same side of the road as us, and the signs on the roads are in English and in Cantonese. Such an incredible experience to get around. So in terms of the park itself, my 2 days in Hong Kong Disneyland Park, did I enjoy it? Is it my favourite castle? I'll tell you in a moment. Let's have a quick update from Florida first before I tell you more about Hong Kong. All the latest news from Walt Disney World, some exciting updates coming to Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger spin at the Magic Kingdom in Tomorrowland. There's going to be a new show scene. There's going to be updated ride vehicles. There's going to be new gameplay enhancements. There's going to be new character involved as well. So lots of new tech and updates coming to Buzz Lightyear's Space Ranger spin. It does mean that the attraction will be closing in August. So right at the end of probably at the end of the American school holidays, it's going to be closing, but it should reopen with this new announcement next year. Also, 2 new shows coming to Hollywood Studios. We've been waiting more to find out when Little Mermaid would reopen. It closed at the pandemic, and then there was all sorts of rumours about problems with the theatre. It had gone mouldy, and then we found out it will be reopening, but it will be reimagined, more based on the new live-action Little Mermaid. Well, we have a date for the Little Mermaid to reopen at Hollywood Studios, and it will be opening sooner than I thought, actually. May the 27th will be the opening date for the new Little Mermaid show at Hollywood Studios, but it's not the only show opening at Hollywood Studios on May the 27th. This has surprised me as well, because I didn't think we'd get this yet. The brand new Villains show opens. It's sandwiched between kind of like where the Tower of Terror and Rock and Roller Coaster is. So where the Cars show used to be, that will be the brand new Villains show, featuring some of your favourite Disney villains. It opens on May the 27th. Already open is the brand new DVC Lounge at the Magic Kingdom. So if you're a member of the Disney Vacation Club, or you can make friends with somebody and they can get you in here. It's a little bit smaller than the one that they've got over at Epcot, but still there's snacks and drinks in there. I think it only seats about 60 over in Frontierland, where the shooting arcade used to be. So you can pop over there if you're a DVC member. Good luck getting in. I think it's going to be very busy. If you're not a DVC member, there is another lounge coming soon to Walt Disney World that you can go in as long as you're over 21, and that is over at Epcot. This is going to be underneath Spaceship Earth. It's now got a name, Geo 82. Innovative cocktails and globally influenced small plates whilst you take in spectacular park views of Epcot. Apparently it's going to be very bourbon heavy. I love a bourbon. We're not quite sure when that is going to open, but hopefully this summer, again, over 21s. Any more news between now and the next podcast? Maybe we'll have some news about free dining, by the way, because I know there's a new free dining offer that's come out, but that is for American bookings. But the UK, big offer that we always wait for, hopefully in the coming weeks. As soon as it drops, I'll let you know on the socials at PodMagical. So, to my third castle of the year, Hong Kong Disneyland. It's such an experience being somewhere new that's so familiar and being able to walk down Main Street USA and see the castle for the first time ever. Do you remember the first time you went to Florida, to Orlando? The first time you went to Walt Disney World? The first time you went to Magic Kingdom and saw that castle? There's no feeling like it. So to do that again in a new park, you get all the feels. You get the same feels. And do you know what? It is a beautiful castle, and there's a lot of familiarity. The Main Street USA in Hong Kong reminded me very much of the one in California, the original Disneyland in California. The only difference is the castle is much bigger and better than the one in California. It used to be pretty much the same. Only a couple of years ago that they decided to rebuild the castle even bigger and better, and it's a stunning castle. So there's no early entry into the park with your hotel stays. As I say, there's 3 hotels. We stayed at the Explorers Lodge. That doesn't get you in early, no, but you can get in early. You've just got to pay your way in, and I think it's definitely worth it. It's definitely worth buying that early entry. Not that the park was busy anyway, but just to be able to get in when it's quieter and you want the pictures of you in the castle without anybody in the background. So that was a great thing to do. Get you 1 hour early, get the pictures, head to any attraction you want, really, because they don't get that busy. The first place we headed to was Arendelle, because that's the newest part of the park. I assume it's the Arendelle that we will get eventually in Disneyland in Paris. I'll tell you about the attractions in a bit, but that was the place we headed to first. We did also buy fast passes for that first day. My tip here, don't bother. You really don't need. We thought, well, do you know what? If it's going to be busy, we've only got one show coming all this way. Let's just get the fast passes for that. And it also gets us a good view of the castle. But I don't think there was a queue for anything in Disneyland Hong Kong that was over 20 minutes. In fact, most of the attractions that we had the fast pass for, we didn't bother because we looked at the queue and went, it's only 10 minutes. Let's just do the normal queue line anyway. The second day in the parks was a little bit busy. Some of the attractions were like half an hour, but really not that busy. So third tip for this podcast, unless you want to splash the cash, I wouldn't really bother getting the fast pass for the attractions. The busiest part of the parks and this will go for Shanghai as well, which I'll tell you about on the next podcast, it's the characters. Character meets over there are crazy. It doesn't seem like people go to the parks to do the attractions. They go for the characters, in particularly Duffy the Disney Bear and all his friends. The Duffy characters, they go crazy for. In fact, there was a bit of a Duffy celebration in Hong Kong Disney when I went. Springtime with Duffy. So the castle show was Duffy and Friends. There was another show in front of the train station with Duffy and Friends. And also he's got his own meet and greet place, which is called Duffy's Playhouse. So every day, 3 of those characters will be in there. So don't go in there expecting to see Mickey and Friends. It is literally just Duffy and Shelley May or Ulu Mel or Gelatoni or Stella Lou or the other ones. I can't remember all of them. There's like 7 of them. That's where the biggest queues are. So if you want to get your pictures with Duffy and Friends, again, you can buy a separate fast pass for that. But that separate fast pass only gets you entry to one of those characters. So if you get the fast pass, you'll get to the entry and they'll go, which one of the characters do you want to meet? There's a picture on the door every day of the 3 characters. They don't change throughout the day, but they change every day. So my best thing is, if you really do want to go there and get pictures of all the Duffy and Friends characters, you're probably going to have to, firstly, in that early entry, get into Duffy's Playhouse to meet the characters before the official park opening. So the park only opened at, I think it was like 10:30. So our early entry got us in at 9:30, which is quite late, and then 10:30 for the park opening itself. The Duffy Playhouse characters, they opened about 10:15. So if you time it right, if you can get there for 10:15, you can get one of the characters. If you can get out and round and get back in another queue for another character before 10:30, before the park actually opens, you can probably hit 2 characters and then buy a fast pass for the 3rd character of the day. So if you really want to do Duffy and Friends, that's the way around it. Yeah, you can get all your photos with Duffy characters and expect to spend a long time with them as well, because when people have photos with these characters, they don't just come in and have a photo and then have a family photo and do an autograph and then that's it. Because, you know, sometimes you're in Florida, in Disney World, when you're in a queue and you get a big family and then it's like, oh, they'll have a picture with the kids and then the kids will come out and then the adults will have a picture and then they'll have the pictures all together and then they'll do autographs and you go, oh, come on, move on. Forget that. Hong Kong and China, you've got to pack your patience because there is no rush when it comes to having pictures with characters. Duffy characters or the Mickey Friends characters. Take as long as you want. They will have pictures with their iPhone, and then they'll do a video, and then they'll do selfies, and then they'll get the Polaroid out, and then there'll be an iPad, and then they'll set another camera up filming it, and one of the cast members will be filming. So many contraptions filming these character pictures, and then they will have a picture just with like their own Duffy teddy. It's crazy. Pack your patience, but also enjoy the experience because it is just a completely different way of enjoying the parks. In terms of parades, there are no parades in Disneyland Hong Kong. There are no cavalcades in Disneyland Hong Kong. That will change in a couple of months' time because, as I mentioned, Disneyland Hong Kong celebrates its 20th anniversary this year. So there's a lot of new things that are coming, including a brand new parade. So unfortunately, I didn't get to see the parade. There was a castle show, which was Duffy and Friends. That, again, for the 20th is going to change back to Mickey and Friends. I think it's probably going to be Mickey and Duffy. I think they'll all be involved in that. When it comes to rides, there's actually not that many rides. You'll walk down Main Street, you'll see the castle. If you turn to the right, you are into Tomorrowland, which has got really quite a bit of a Marvel theme to it. It does look like a traditional Tomorrowland. The only thing that's not Marvel is Space Mountain, which is Star Wars themed. It's not the best Space Mountain I've ever been on. The one at Hong Kong, it's not the worst. I think the best one is probably still Paris. I love the launch. I think the worst is definitely Florida because it's so uncomfortable. So it's somewhere in between. You sit 2 by 2. It's pretty good. People said, oh, no, I don't really like the Space Mountain. I thought it was quite good. I enjoyed it. I like the Star Wars layover for it as well. The Buzz Lightyear attraction, the shoot 'em up one, has been recently rethemed to Ant-Man. So you can go around and you get shrunk down to the size of an ant. What I do love about that, they've upgraded the lasers, the laser shooters. So you can actually see your laser and whoever you're sitting with, you each have different colours. So it's a little bit easier to point and shoot on that attraction. The only other attraction they've got at Tomorrowland, apart from a few meet and greets, is It's kind of like the Star Tours vehicle, but it's Iron Man. So rather than flying through Batuu, you actually fly over Hong Kong. The attraction starts with the flying out of the park into Hong Kong. And what I also loved about this is the safety video that they show you just before you go in. And it is exactly the same setup as Star Tours. But if you look closely, Stan Lee is actually in the video for the safety video. Other lands they've got Adventureland, where you can experience Jungle Cruise with a difference. First top tip for Jungle Cruise, if you can, sit on the right of the boat. If you're one of the first ones on, sit on the right, because it has got a very explosive ending to Jungle Cruise in Hong Kong. Also, as you get a choice of language. So when you get into the queue, because I say English is kind of like their second language, so you have a choice of Mandarin or Cantonese or English. Broken English, but still a fun thing to do. Also in Adventureland, they've got a Moana show. They've got the Lion King show. The Lion King show is pretty much the same one we've got at Animal Kingdom, but it's been updated. The staging is better. I'd say it's been Vegas-ified. The staging moves up and down. The only thing that's different in terms of action, there's no tumble monkeys in it, but the characters coming out of the side with Simba and Timon and Pumbaa, that's the same, although they do move into the middle as well, and they rotate, so it's had a real upgrade. I'd say probably better than the Animal Kingdom Lion King show, Festival of the Lion King at Hong Kong. Just no tumble monkeys. Incredible talent as well. Still incredible talent. Grizzly Gulch is what you would have really as the Frontierland. Only one attraction in there. They don't have Big Thunder Mountain, but they've got an attraction there which is very similar. In fact, it is kind of like, I'd say it's a cross between Big Thunder and Everest. Yes, it goes backwards. Spoiler alert. As I mentioned before, the newest part of the park is Arendelle, the world of Frozen. I have just actually received a postcard from Arendelle, the world of Frozen, that I posted to myself. Do you ever do that? Send yourself a postcard when you're on holiday? They've got a post box there. So you can actually buy the postcard, and when you buy it, it includes stamp and international postage. So all you need to do is ask them for a pen, fill it out, and you can actually post it. So get a picture of yourself posting a postcard from Arendelle, and when it arrives, you're home, probably the week after you get back, it's stamped as Disneyland Hong Kong Arendelle. Really cute. So apart from buying a postcard in Arendelle, they've got Frozen Ever After. Yes. It's the same attraction we've got at Epcot. Yes. You still get a wet bottom when you sit down. I completely forgot to take a paper towel to wipe the seat before I sat down. I'd say it is slightly enhanced. Because obviously Frozen Ever After at Epcot was the makeover of the original Norway attraction. But they have taken the exact same attraction. There's one or two parts of it where you're going on the other side, where you'd be on the left of the attraction, you'd be on the right. But apart from that, it's pretty much similar, but without the creepy eyes. If you know what I mean, you know, the Anna and Elsa animatronics, sometimes you look at them, they look a bit dead behind the eyes. They've got better eyes. The animatronics are much better. Olaf is definitely more sparkly. And also, spoiler alert, it's got a double dip. Yeah. So you know when it dips, you got a double dip. The other attraction they've got there is the Oaken Sledge Ride, which somebody said, oh yeah, it's a little bit like the Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. No, it's not like Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. It's a cute little kiddie coaster, I'd say. It's a good first coaster. It's only a minute long. It is fun, but it's only a minute long. Yeah, maybe a little bit like Mine Train, but you get to ride it and ride around Arendelle slightly. Again, I'd say with that attraction, do it in the day and do it in the night as well. In fact, if you're visiting Arendelle, it's so pretty at night. It's like a completely different place to be. So pretty when it's lit up at night. So sit in the day, sit in the night. There's a couple of places to eat. There's a couple of little shops in there as well. Other lands that they've got in Disneyland Hong Kong include Toy Story Land, which is pretty much the same one as Paris. They've got the Slinky Dog there, not Slinky Dog Coaster. Like in Orlando, it's just the one that goes round. They've got the Green Army Men drop, again, like they got in Paris. They've got the race car that just goes up and down. It's always got really long queues because it's such a slow loader. So they've got that. Back of the castle, of course, we've got the usual attractions. It's a Small World. Again, it's a small world, and you finish in Hong Kong. The great thing about It's a Small World is the setting of it. And in fact, the setting of the park in Hong Kong, you've got mountains in the background, And it just looks so pretty. Just seeing these mountains in the back of It's a Small World. Dumbo is there. They've got the Winnie the Pooh attraction. PhilharMagic is there as well, which unfortunately was closed when I went for refurb. They've got Mickey and the Magical Book, which is a live stage show with Mickey and singers and performers. Again, that was closed when I went. However, they've got exactly the same show in Shanghai, which I did get to see. Again, I'll tell you about that on the next podcast. Probably the best ride, though, in Hong Kong is Mystic Manor. Now, they don't have a haunted mansion in Hong Kong. Apparently, it's something to do with beliefs of the afterlife that they don't have, which would mean that having a haunted mansion would be a little bit uncomfortable for the culture. So they do have what is called Mystic Manor. I don't think it's like Haunted Mansion at all. Apart from the fact that it's in a house. It's trackless, there's no ghosts, there's no creepy suicide scenes at the beginning. It's all based around the... do you know the Society of Explorers and Adventures? SEA. Have you heard about that? It's quite big in Disney culture. So Jungle Cruise, Skipper Canteen, Big Thunder. The person who owns Big Thunder Mountain and the people who run Jungle Cruise, they're all part of this Society of Explorers and Adventures. I think it's quite big in Japan, but there's a lot of little Easter eggs and connections for all the Disney parks around the world. So one of these members of the Society of Explorers and Adventurers is Lord Mystic, who's got this manor, a Mystic Manor, where he's showing you, he's inviting you in to see his collection of things he's got from around the world, which include this music box that has the ability to bring things to life. Now, Lord Mystic has got a little pet monkey called Albert, and he's a little bit naughty, and he opens this music box, and everything does come to life. And as I say, it's a trackless ride that takes you around. It's really incredible. I'd say it's one of the most unique Disney attractions I have ever been on. And because of that, I would say that is definitely the best ride in Hong Kong. In terms of merchandise, yes, there's lots of Duffy and Friends. So it's less mini ears and lounge flies and more Duffy plushes. Some T-shirts, the oddest thing I found is you've got to rummage. T-shirts and sweatshirts, quite limited in Hong Kong, and they're all just on a rack together. So you don't see like one collection of Spirit jerseys, one collection of Hong Kong Park T-shirts, and it's all kind of like all in. So you've got to get good rummage through, a little bit like TK Maxx. Food, there's some cute snacks to have. Now, there's not a lot of table service restaurants, but there are some cute snacks around. Probably the best table service restaurant, in fact there's probably two actually, one of which is in the Disneyland Hotel. It's called Crystal Lotus. Now, you might have seen this on people's vlogs, where you can get lunch, you get dim sum in the shape of Disney characters, so Duffy and Friends and Winnie the Pooh and Friends. However, it's only at lunchtime, and you have to pre-book it and request the character dim sum. We got caught out by this. So originally we just booked the restaurant thinking, we'll book the restaurant and we'll have the dim sum when we get there. And then I saw something that said, oh no, when you book it, if you scroll down, at least 24 hours before you book it, you have to click a little thing to request the character dim sum. So we did that and we thought we were fine. But what we didn't know is that it's only available at lunchtime. So if you want to have the dim sum of the Disney characters, it's the Disneyland Hong Kong Disneyland Hotel. You have to book it in for lunch. Crystal Lotus, you have to book it in for lunch, and you have to request during that booking. Scroll down and there's a little tick thing where you have to request the dim sum. The food in there was good. It was somewhere just we went on the first night for something to do because we weren't going into Hong Kong and we weren't going into the parks. So we thought that's quite nice. We'll explore the hotels, we'll explore the area, and we'll have that. Also in the Disneyland Hotel, 9 o'clock every morning, they do Tai Chi with a Disney character. Did this on 2 mornings. The first morning was Goofy, and the second morning was Mickey Mouse. If you want to take part in the Tai Chi, you can do that. You've got to queue up. It's first come, first served. I stood at the back just to take photographs, but it's really cute. And because they do it at 9 o'clock every morning, and early entry for us was only at 9:30. It was only like a 5-minute walk from the Disneyland Hotel to the actual park itself. There are coaches that go from the 3 hotels to the parks. I say it's easy to walk. It's such a beautiful setting. Disneyland Hong Kong Resort, and there is a big area. They bought a lot of land for this, and I don't think they're using all of it. But where the 3 hotels are, they are side by side on the waterfront, and they're all connected with a little promenade. So you can walk with the Hollywood furthest away, the Explorers Lodge where we stayed in the middle, the Disneyland Hotel that is the nearest to the walkway that then is like a couple of minutes walk up to the park. Also, there's a jetty I noticed at the end, which has got 2 piers on it. I thought, what is this for? Because I didn't see any boats or ferries. Not as big as a cruise terminal, but it's definitely a big ferry jetty. So I looked into this. So when they originally built it, there was going to be a ferry service that would run you from the centre of Hong Kong into Disneyland Park. I thought, what a shame they haven't got that. Because that would have been an incredible way. You could go into Hong Kong on the train, come back on the ferry, dropping you off right into Disneyland. So it's a shame. It's just because I don't think the tourism for that park has picked up enough. I don't think it's busy enough to do that yet. But yeah, that was really interesting. We ended the night with the fireworks. An incredible nighttime experience. Because we bought the fast pass on the first night, we got to stand at the front. There's not a lot of pyrotechnics, there's not a lot of fireworks, but the ones they've got and how they use them, they use it to the best ability. It is very projection heavy, but I think because the castle is relatively new, I think it was semi-purpose built for projection mapping on the castle. I have never seen images so clear on any of the castles or any of the buildings. It really pops, and they've got a water feature as well, so it's a little bit phantasmic, a little bit world of colour, a little bit of happily ever after. So yeah, I think the song that they use is one of those that gives you the Disney feels. Live the moment, love the memory, I think was the line in the song. Momentous, a beautiful nighttime experience. I'd say probably less pyros than they've got in Paris for their nighttime shows, but I think the way they use them is even better. One of my favourite nighttime shows. It's really got all the feels. It's got that original song and then orchestral versions of some Disney classics. Really good. The castle itself, if you get the chance to walk around the castle, do have a look. There's some great details on the castle of various characters. It's dedicated to the Disney princesses. So if you walk underneath, and especially walk around the back, and I'll put all this on the socials, I've taken loads of videos, you can see details of Tiana and Snow White and all the animals and the characters. Incredible. Another way of seeing the fireworks at the end of the night, by the way, you can, rather than getting the fast passes, which I don't think are worth it, the restaurant at next to Mystic Manor, and I can't think what it's called, but if it comes to me, I'll put it on the socials. They do what is called a semi-buffet. So it's a buffet for starters, a buffet for dessert, and you just order your main. It's about 500 Hong Kong dollars, which is about 50 quid. But for that, you get a really good meal, a really good buffet, and best viewing for the fireworks. So again, another tip, probably don't bother with the fast passes, but I would do the semi-buffet. They do the semi-buffet for lunch, which I think is about 25, 26 quid. That's just food. But if you go in the evening, you get the buffet and you get a fast pass area to watch the fireworks at the front. We watched the fireworks on the second night from at the back, and it was just as good. Once you get used to people with cameras, there's a big camera culture in Hong Kong and Shanghai. So on attractions, not so much in Hong Kong actually, but more in Shanghai, attractions and fireworks, be prepared for cameras to go up. People will watch the fireworks through their camera. They don't just like put them at kind of like shoulder length to film it while they're looking at it with their eyes. They will watch the entire thing through their camera. So apart from that, I didn't really experience any problems. The fact that it was quiet, it's such a beautiful park, it's a very happy park. I didn't see any rows. Cast members, as always with Disney, are incredible. Nobody was being rude to cast members. They were very smiley, spoke brilliant English. There's a lot of waving going on. I also, and I didn't realise this until I got home, and I was thinking about it, I was watching videos and I thought, there's a noise that's missing from these videos. And it was the noise of beeping. I didn't see in Hong Kong or Shanghai a single ECV. There were no mobility scooters at all. Didn't see a single one in either of the parks. Bear in mind, I spent 2 days in Hong Kong and 2 days in Shanghai. So 4 days in Disney parks without seeing a single ECV. There's also not that many strollers. Obviously, there's a lot of kids. Maybe it's because I went to both parks midweek and kids were at school. Didn't see a lot of kids in strollers either. Little kids were just walking. So yeah, it's not an expensive park. It's fairly quiet. It's very clean. It's very happy. It's got a beautiful location. There's no trouble. And it was like old school Disney. So here is what I'm saying to you. If you can, do a 14-hour flight. If you've got the money, if you're brave enough, if you'd like to walk down Main Street USA for the first time again, without a doubt, I would recommend not just going to Disneyland in Hong Kong, but going to Hong Kong. It's an incredible, friendly, safe place. And I do want to go back. Annoyingly, in a few weeks' time, they're starting their new parade and all the 20th celebrations, so it's made me want to go back now. However, my next stop was another castle and another new Disney park, the newest Disney park. On the next episode, I'll tell you all about my visit to Disneyland in Shanghai. And there's a lot to learn. Of course, this is a Walt Disney World podcast, so if you would like to join me on the podcast to talk about Walt Disney World, then please do. If you're going to be going over the next few weeks, the weather, it's really nice actually. It's in the low 30s, so mid-teens overnight, which is nice and mild overnight, low 30s during the day, not too wet by the looks of it. So it's not quite that humid Florida weather yet. It is busy though. Spring break crowds have descended. So expect between now and over to the other end of Easter it to be quite busy. Pound to dollar is about 1.29. It has been up to 1.3, but it seems to be hovering above and below 1.29. Over at Epcot, Flower and Garden Festival is on. Live music at the American Pavilion this weekend from Queensryche. And next weekend, members of ELO. So not Jeff Lynne, but former members of ELO performing at Epcot next weekend. It is the Universal Mardi Gras that finishes this weekend. Of course, in a couple of months' time, you can be visiting a brand new Universal theme park. Epic Universe opens. And if you are looking to buy single tickets and you're wondering about priority passes and park hoppers and queue jumps and stuff like that, they've all gone on sale this week over at Epic Universe. SeaWorld, if you're going to go into there over the next few weeks while on your visit to Orlando, they've got their Seven Seas Music Festival going on. There'll be food and beer and live performances, country music this weekend from Walker Hayes, and then Soulja Boy next weekend at SeaWorld. Finally, as I always like to do, I like to end the episode with a top tip. If you're going to Walt Disney World and you've been a few times and you don't mind going on a ride on your own, or maybe you are on your own, or you're with people who don't want to go on the ride, then please do utilise single rider. And you're thinking, well, Andy, that's not really a top tip. We know about single rider. Yeah. Did you know you can find out more about it, though, in the My Disney Experience app? Yes, they have included it in the app. So if you want to know which attractions can accept single riders, so you can check the queue times and go, oh, that's looking quite busy. Well, I can go on a single rider. And sometimes you can go on a single rider with somebody else, and they, as they say, you will be split up, because you're technically a queue jumper and you're just filling in the spare seats. Things like, well, when it reopens, Test Track, and also Ratatouille, because it's rows of threes, usually get a couple or a family of four, so there's like a couple of seats that are free, and you and your other half will probably end up sitting in the same car. Not side by side, probably behind each other, but it's a great thing to do if you've been on the attraction quite a few times and you don't mind sitting on your own or being separated. Have a look at the single rider now in the My Disney Experience app. That's it for this episode. You can check out all the pictures and videos from Hong Kong on the socials. I'm trying to do more on TikTok. Next episode, I'll tell you how my journey continued in Shanghai. There's a lot to take in the next episode. There's a lot of things just about going to China with visas and money and language barriers. Did it make my trip a disaster? Or was Disneyland Shanghai okay? There's been a lot of horror stories about Disneyland Shanghai. Well, you'll have to find out 2 weeks from now. Hit that subscribe button, don't miss it. Until then, please stand clear of the doors.